Good morning. Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show this morning. It is Michelle Bryant here, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Let me say good morning to the bros in the studio. Hey, Debo. How you doing today?
Yeah, you come to me Monday and Tuesday of last week and Thursday.
We keeping track. We keeping track. It sounded like you were venting right away. I mean, but I can tell the way you pulled the mic down, you was about to get something off your chest. Dude said Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday last week. Well, not keeping track though, are we? I mean, but if you have noticed, there's not a ton consistent about my show. Like I have no sign off. Hold on, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. But I don't necessarily like routine. I am a person that, spontaneity is not quite maybe the word I would use for it. I don't like regimens. I like to be able to adapt to different things. Not really for me. No. 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 I mean, I work constantly, but I've been afforded the opportunity to kind of, yeah, exactly. Because, different things will have a priority. So stuff I was working on yesterday, I'm not working on today. So my work days are fluid. And I like that, like I said, I remember when I first started doing, talk radio, Eric Vaughn had his signature sign off. Be good, be careful, and bye-bye. Keith Paris, may we go from this place in peace. I'm trying to think a couple other people got sign offs, and I don't have one. And so over the years, people have given me suggestions, and I will say, you know what, I'm gonna think about it, but I just won't do it. And it's not for any other reason than because I just don't do the same thing every day. And so it's funny to me that you said the inconsistency. I don't. What is it?
It's a couple of them intertwined, but the main one that I always try to stress is that if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you.
I like that. But that's like a lot of work. You giving people work, Simon. you get. I mean,
move around.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I do. And that's a weighty sign off. That's like real talk sign off. Go from this place in peace. Yeah, that's just general. That's Keith. It's just chill. Like everybody could like yay nay, but it's no real work required. I'm just saying, just go. Just take your behind on out of here. But I don't know. It's funny. It's funny that you made that observation. Very astute, Debo. Very astute. Good morning, Carvey. How are you this morning, bro? Carvey said he's doing well. No neck pillow this morning. Oh, he got it. No combo this morning. Oh, it is over there. Oh, I can't see. It was trying to keep me from getting at him. It was funny. Carvey asked everybody. First of all, I just love his brother. Just, I cannot. If he ever do something to disappoint me, I'm gonna just be heartbroken.
I think everybody feels that way.
I mean, he is such. Because just the best even keel personality, uber engaging, and I hate to say it in this way, but respectful. Just in terms of life, his circumstances, the environment, things around him, and inquisitive, like he's everything you hope young people are doing and listening, and hearing you. And I just love his brother. Now watch. he gonna be a scandal next week, and then I'm gonna be like, God, he gonna be in a scandal. He gonna be in a scandal next week.
Actually got a chance to meet his mom. That was
Oh, his mom is cool
yeah,
people.
she's very good people.
You didn't meet her at June? Oh, you went down there when we was doing that first part of Juneteenth.
No,
Yeah.
I think I was here.
Okay. Yeah, because I met his mom at Juneteenth
So
and that gigantic baby. Uh, his little brother,
yeah,
his little brother, he bigger than the whole stroller. I was like, dog, it's time. He looked like baby Bam Bam from the Flintstones. Have you ever seen the Flintstones? Okay, your brother is Bam Bam. No, it's a baby. But he be like, he real strong to be a baby. And be like just knocking stuff down and tearing it up. That's your brother.
what was the little girl name?
Pebbles was a little girl. Yeah. Yeah. Nah, Bam Bam. This Joker was ridiculous. So when I saw Carvey's little brother, I was like, he too big for that stroller. You can get him up out of there. He was laying back, his feet was dragging the ground. And it was a big stroller. So it wasn't like she didn't have the appropriate stroller. This bruh just Sasquatch. Like, hey, Shaq, come on up out of there. And you could just start walking around. I don't know. But he needed. He needed. I was like, oh, you're gonna be way bigger than Carvey. Yeah, he gonna be snatching up Carvey when he about 13. Like, look here.
Man, no, yeah, man. All of my little brothers. Besides my the oldest little brother that I got, he taller and heavier than me.
So Carvey was saying he rough housing with everybody, but he said these cats is thick up in Carvey all slim. He was like, these cats is thick up in here. Yeah, you're gonna get beat up, Carvey. You better stay cool. You better stay cool with everybody. Because if they all decide to jump down on you, it's over for you, bro. But yes, so Carvey, but I was messing with Carvey. He's like, well, how are you? Because, he came in. How's your weekend? People don't even do that and like really care. And then went from me to Debo. How was your weekend? And so when he asked me how was my weekend, I said it was slavery. Because it was straight work right up until I went to sleep last night and then got up this morning early to do some more work. So yeah, I was on some slavery nonsense this weekend. So Debo, what you say? He was like, oh no, it was all right. And then Debo got to thinking about everything he had done. And like, yeah, it was a little slavery-ish. it was a little, yeah, it was a little problematic. So in any case, welcome to the show this morning. A lot to talk about, a lot to get to. I need to say good morning to a number of people that have checked in already. Good morning, Shelby. Shelby checked in. What she say? Because she did the area code. I think she said, she said checking in with the 414 from the 513. Shelby doesn't live in the city of doesn't live in the state of Wisconsin. I like that, Shelby. That was slick this morning. Adeline Pressy said good morning. Adeline, I need to call you. Lena got in touch with me to let me know what was going on. Let me know if I'm okay to say it on the air, please. I know you're listening. And I will make an announcement. And good morning, Brother Reesby. Antoine Reesby over at Holy Redeemer, the brother who I say, be sharp because it's Tuesday. Like, for no reason whatsoever, this bruh just be flexing on gear all the time. And I'm like, it's Tuesday, fam. Where you going? And it's not like them people that be sharp and you could tell they trying to be sharp. Like, this just his MO. He this is just how he get down. And so he posted some pictures of him and his wife, a couple I absolutely adore. And they had on these white outfits. And when I just tell you, like first of all, I just love when you see black couples that look like they genuinely happy. And they genuinely love each other. They love their family. They love their life. That's Antoine and his wife and his family. But I I was looking at his Facebook post and I was just like, this boy is ridiculous. So Antoine, good morning. He checked in this morning. Hey Dion, what's happening, sis? Good to hear from y'all. All right. So a couple of things. We know that uh, we have August primary that is happening, and election early voting has already started. If you are someone who plans to vote and not be like some people who don't vote for 10 years, um, then, you know, I'm sorry, did I hear some background noise? Oh, okay, I just thought I heard some background noise. Then just know that early voting has started. It runs through basically, it looks like August 10th. I thought it was the 11th before, but there are some early voting locations: Capitol Drive, 6001 West Capitol Drive, the Xylem Municipal Building downtown off of Broadway, 841 North Broadway, Zablocki Library. These locations during now through August 9th are open until 7 p.m. And so that's later than usual. And then on the weekends, on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2, and on Sunday from noon to 4 on just, oh no, that one passed. So that was the only Sunday. Um, that's amazing. Yep, that was the only Sunday. Good Hope Library, Tippecanoe Library, Washington Park Library. You can early vote there as well. They also are going until 7 p.m. until tonight. And then afterwards, they go to a 5 p.m. schedule, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And then on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4. So again, there is no excuse not to participate in this race. I pulled some early vote information to see what was happening. And so far in this August 13th race at the Capitol Drive Center, we have now seen 559 people come in to early vote. And that is with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of early voting. Sunday was, I think, the effort by Souls to the Polls to get people out. So the numbers on Tuesday, 97, Wednesday, 91, Thursday, 106, Friday, 120, Saturday, only 45. On Sunday, we saw 100 people go to the polls. I'm willing to bet that's the impact of the work of Souls to the Polls. Good Hope Library has had 206 people so far. Tippecanoe, 262. Washington Park Library, 127. Zablocki Library, 545. And then the Xylem Municipal Building, 562. So this is interesting because typically Capitol Drive is always the, it's the record breaker. It is clearly where people go. So right now, is a blocky. I'm sorry, the Xylem Municipal Building has a Capitol Drive location by 3 votes. So I looked at that. In terms of new voter registrations, we've seen a total of 84 people coming to the polls and registering on site. And we've had new registrations at every single polling location. So that's great news. And in terms of the absentee drop-offs, these are folks who got their mail-in ballots and they are just having the ballots dropped off at the library. 523 so far have been drop-offs in terms of absentee voting. So just wanted people to know that we have to get engaged. We have to turn out. We cannot have situations where, particularly in our community, Black community, we are underrepresented in terms of voting, because even though we will have numbers, if we don't show up, small handfuls of people will decide, everything that's going to happen for our districts. So again, if you have not made a plan to vote, I'm going to encourage you to do that. I'll also be giving information either tomorrow or Wednesday. There will be an opportunity, the NAACP out of the national office, to get members of the NAACP to be able to participate in virtual phone banks, that we are calling people to, say, hey, remember to get out to vote. Do you have a plan to vote? This is nonpartisan. And then there will be opportunities for other folks to join in who say, hey, Michelle, I want to volunteer. How can I do something to help out? Today, uh, these opportunities have become so sophisticated, you can do everything from your home. You don't even have to come to a location. So I'll be making sure that the community knows, again, not partisan. If you just want to be able to make sure that we have good voter representation and turnout, we understand how close these elections are going to be. We don't need to leave anybody on the field. Everybody has to show up. This is a knock and drag election. Knock and drag is something that a phrase that you hear during get out the vote weekends, voting election day, where people are like, look, we see a certain ward is not performing well. We send somebody into that ward. They knocking on doors. Hey, did you know it was an election today? Oh, child, no, I didn't know. Come on, come on. Come on, you got to go vote. So this is that kind of election. And just so people know, it is going to be um, one that's going to be heavily watched and heavily contested. I got to take a break, but when I come back, we got to talk about the fact that Donald Trump was down in Atlanta. Some of the stuff that he said in Atlanta, just over the top, ignorant as usual. But this young Black sister from Clark Atlanta University and her gushing over Donald Trump and her plea for the Black community to support Donald Trump because of what she said he did to save HBCUs. Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Wisconsin tomorrow. That means that VP pick is coming in the next 24 hours. We should know of the top 3 candidates that she's looking at, who is going to actually be her vice presidential running mate. And then I'm also going to be updating folks that live in the Northridge Lakes area. There is a meeting happening tonight, a town hall meeting, in which you will be able to get a timeline and understanding about what's going on with the demolition and the project over at Northridge Lakes. So make sure you tune back in. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. I'll be right back. Milwaukee, are you ready for a free event that brings the community together like never All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Before I continue with some of the news of the day, I need to take a few minutes to stop and acknowledge the passing of a sister in this community that was near and dear to a lot of people in Milwaukee, around Milwaukee, in Wisconsin. Uh, Adrienne Griffin, who was one of the biggest faces of the Juneteenth Day celebration from the Northcott neighborhood house, who was a person in charge of helping to make that whole thing happen. She was um, someone that when I came to be the executive director of African World Festival, her and her twin sister, Adeline, um, oh my God, along with all of the other individuals that were different chairs of different committees connected to African World Festival. Um, and I'm not going to start naming names because these I don't want to forget anybody, but these people made sure that I understood what I was doing. And these were the most helpful, unselfish, no ego, because you're dealing with new personalities, new leadership, the board switching and changing. And so it's a lot because everybody come in, they think they are hot stuff. They know this, they know that. And I watched this core group of volunteers with African World Festival, some of whom had been there since the first day Afrofest ever happened. Educate me, teach me, and encourage me and support me. And Adrienne and Adeline in particular, but Adrienne, I'm just like, I just have never seen anybody with the patience of this woman. And so, you could not go in the Northcott neighborhood house and not see Adrienne and not smile, not know that you were loved and cared about. And she was there to do whatever she could to help. And so people that had been watching over the years, she had stepped back from her role with Northcott because she had had a double lung transplant. And she had had a lot of medical challenges, at some point, even losing her vision. And her twin sister, and the family members have all just stood right there to make sure that this sister had the care that she needed until she passed away this past Thursday. And so funeral arrangements are pending. I'll make sure that I talk to the family. I'll even see if I can coax her sister, who does not like to be in the spotlight. These sisters have always been people that have preferred to play the back, but are the most important people in the room, generally, because of all the institutional knowledge that they have. And so as soon as I get that information, I'll make sure that you are aware of it. And that also, like I said, if we can talk to family, we will do that. So Adrienne Griffin, connected to Juneteenth and African World Festival and so many other community events, has passed away. There's another individual.
Michelle, wasn't she at? Oh no, you didn't make it that day to Garfield.
No, I wasn't at Garfield Days this year.
She was there.
Adrienne was it?
I don't know, so she came up and spoke to me at our booth.
No,
I'm almost certain.
nah. Adeline, let me know if Adrienne went to Garfield Days. That doesn't sound right, but we'll see. We'll see. So I also need to mention the passing of another sister in this community. Uh, Community Brainstorming did a session this past their last community brainstorming session, and the title of the session was "The Pillars Are Falling," and they talked about historic agencies and institutions and organizations in the community that have helped and served the area's constituency. And losing a SDC having NPS flailing and not performing well, and the financial drama that's going on, that all these things, play into um, a community stability. And so last week, I also had learned about the passing of one of the founding members of Legacy Bank, Dolores Sims. A lot of people knew her as D. Sims. And, you know, in 1999, this group of sisters got together because they were talking about financial stability, building wealth for those living in underserved communities in the Milwaukee community. And three sisters, Margaret Henningsen, Dolores Sims, or D. Sims, as a lot of people called her in the community, and Shirley Lanier, Pastor Walter Lanier's mother. They started Legacy Bank. And their philosophy, no margin, no mission. No margin, no mission. And the building over off of 21st and Fond du Lac Avenue, which all of us know well. At some point, it ended up becoming Seaway Bank. And I think now it's like a credit union kind of thing is housed in the back part of it. But these are women who saw a need in our community and did the unthinkable. I think about the fund that was started down in Georgia with the sisters who said that Black women only receive 1% of venture capital investment dollars. And so they set about the work to create access to money that these women owned businesses, Black owned women businesses was having trouble accessing. We know what's going on with that now. White guy comes up and, oh, you're discriminating. But don't nobody care about the fact that Black women, for whatever reason, can only be afforded 1% of all investment dollars. And somebody tries to help them from their own community. We using our own bootstraps. And then some white dude come through crying, talking about discrimination. You just got to love America sometimes. But these three sisters, you had, and it's funny even having the conversation because Margaret Henningsen is one of the people that is credited with us having Juneteenth because of traveling and being out of the state, seeing something done in another state and bringing the idea back to Milwaukee. So somebody just texted me what they say. I received my first home loan from Margaret Henningsen when she was at TCF Bank in Capitol Court in 1996. She gave me a lot of advice. These sisters were dedicated to making sure that Black folks understood their money. They understood what your money could do for you, how to manage your money, how to build wealth in your family, the importance of owning a home. And there was just not much that you could say that when you start talking about leadership, that these three names didn't come up. And for a long time, it was just so cool to be able to watch what they were doing with Legacy Bank. And they all come together with this wealth of banking experience in the banking industry to be able to become one of the first banks in the nation to be organized by African-American women, and definitely the first in the state of Wisconsin. Think about that. These three sisters, who wakes up and says, we're going to start a bank? Like everything that goes with starting a bank. And these three sisters got together, all coming from the banking industry, and said, we can do this. And people scoffed at them. People didn't believe it was possible. The amount of, dollars and capital you got to come up with to be able to get this done. But they literally became a dream team, if you will. They literally became a dream team. And so there are people that will certainly be mourning the passing of D. Sims, and I want to thank Judge Taylor. Um, she reminded me to mention it this morning. She's listening. Thank you, Judge Taylor, for making sure that I did not forget to honor the legacy and contributions. And we'll do more. I'll do more, because these aren't people you can just do a 5-minute, like blip or 2 or 3 minutes and move on. So I'll even see if I can get Margaret and some folks, from Legacy, because I know a ton of people that was connected to Legacy, to be able to talk about the work and what was done. But this stuff is phenomenal. When you see Black people start North Milwaukee State Bank, start what's the savings and loan, Columbia Savings and Loan, against all odds, people definitely told these folks it could not be done. And Columbia, I think they celebrating 100 years or something crazy. Not 100, but whatever the number is, they have been in business forever. And they have seen other businesses come and go and close, and they've been able to still manage to be standing. So that whole piece about pillars in the community. And then the question becomes, who are the next generation of people that step up to do that? Because the sacrifice, the selflessness, the work that went into creating these institutions and fighting to keep them open, it's a lot of people don't want to do that no more. It's just easier for me to go work for somebody else, make my little check and go home. So you always got to applaud the people that want to do community service. I was talking to Rep Myers this weekend, and then I'm gonna move on and get to some of these top line items. But I was talking to Rep Myers this weekend, and she said she was talking to somebody, and they was talking about how going to the Senate you would get a bump in pay, and she had to tell them that no, state senators make pretty much the same money as state representatives, even though state senators have 3 times the district of a state representative. The only caveat is you get more staff to be able to help you cover those 3 districts. And she went on to tell people that a lot of time I spend my own money, and had to laugh because she's chosen 2 professions, being an educator and being a state legislator, where you can end up spending your own money to have these jobs. And so somebody's like, spend your own money how? And she talked about, like, when I host, Black History Month events, and like we were at Rooted MKE, and we had Maya Smart's book available, I'm paying for them books to give to the community. And I pay for the food, and I pay for everything that's there. That doesn't come out of a assembly budget. And when we do the HBCU college fair, and we got, raffle prizes lined up on the table, kids walked away with complete bedding sets and luggage sets to get ready to go to college, bathroom towel, like whatever, we decided to do for people. Me and Lakeisha buy that stuff. That's not, the AKAs donate a basket of things for college students to go. Before, we've had participation from other Divine Nine organizations, but most recently it's pretty much been the AKAs that have stepped up to do that. But everything, when people come to the college fair and you see all of those raffle items, and we call your name, me and Lakeisha paying for that. And when Lena was there, Lena was paying. The 3 of us paid for that out of our pocket. And then we, work with Gerard Randall to be able to provide lunch and stuff, and work with outside organizations to help, lunch or breakfast. But the money we spend is stupid, because we want our community to have access. Black Advocacy Day at the Capitol, the first person to pay for them buses to take Black people to the Capitol for free, Lena Taylor paid for that out of her pocket. That $2,000 or whatever that money was to get them buses up there, Lena paid for that. I pay for the food. Lakeisha pay for this. And then we end up bringing other people to the table and getting help. So the Urban League then steps up and says, we got y'all. And Wisconsin Voices steps up and says, we want to be a part of it. The Democratic Party of Wisconsin even stepped up and said, we at the table. We bringing speakers in. We pay them speakers and we pay them well. Because Black people as speakers don't get paid well. So we make sure on our watch, you get paid well to speak at our events. All them little cakes and juices that people is eating and drinking on the buses, we pay for that. And so, the person that she was talking to was just kind of dumbfounded, like, what? Like, yeah, I'm actually losing money being a state legislator. When you think about what I could be doing, but I do it because I want to do it. I want to serve our community. I believe that we're supposed to do this. And I believe that people should have access. I think one of the proudest accomplishments of all the time of being in the legislature, in addition to the bills passed, was being able to create that Black Advocacy Day. And Senator Taylor insisting that Senator Taylor at the time, now Judge Taylor, insisting that Black folks gonna have access to this building. When people talk about this as the people's house, Black folks gotta understand this their house too. And the people that's in the Capitol need to understand that this is Black folks' house too. Everything that we did, we started off so meager. Our first Black History Month. Black Advocacy Day is born out of Black History Month. That's me and Lena, two little Black girls in the Capitol who like, wait. Ain't nobody doing nothing to honor Black history up in this joint? And we have a simple little ceremony with a cake. And I sing, lift every voice and sing. And we give awards to some, Black pioneers in the community. And then it goes from that, a little 1 hour program in the Senate parlor, to becoming, we in the Capitol Rotunda and utilizing the entire Capitol, Senate chambers, Assembly chambers, and then ending and culminating with the reception at the governor's residence. See, that's the part that people got to understand about people who want to serve y'all. It's not just I showed up to a committee and I voted on a bill. It's all the stuff that you can do with the power of those offices to make a difference in your community. There are people that have now been to the governor's residence who would have never gone before, most likely, had it not been for the vision of three little Black women, Black girls in the state capitol. People don't understand that. We don't make empty promises. We don't tell you, oh, you about to get this and you about to get that, because it's hard as hell in Madison. You fight like a dog for everything. And most often you lose because we're not in the majority in terms of being Democrats. So when I think about the work of a Dolores Sims and Adrian Griffin, I'm right now I'm just talking about the folks that have passed on, and that whole piece that community brainstorming did around the pillars of falling. Y'all, we got to be careful about who the hell we giving power to and who we sending, because everybody ain't up there doing everything that they can to help us. They doing just enough to get by. All of them kids that got college fair information on HBCUs, tribal colleges, and then we brought in the trades and the military. That's Lena and Lakeisha. The idea was Lakeisha's. She wasn't even in office yet. Lena took it and made it a reality. And then everybody in our offices worked like dogs to make it happen. Those kinds of things go away because you don't have people there with that level of vision or willing to put in that level of work. So, we take a loss and a hit if we don't find people to replace Dolores Sims, to replace Adrian Griffin, that's willing to show up every day, half of the time for no pay, or being severely underpaid to make sure that our community has what they need. And we work people like a dog. And frequently it's thankless. But I have become a true believer. You don't miss your water till your well run dry, in terms of understanding what the void of leadership can be in our community. Folks don't know how people have worked to make your life better. And they ain't told you. So you're not responsible fully because you don't know. But that conversation that we take shorts, and then followed by a conversation that I had this weekend in which a brother got at me because he said, Michelle, I'm just real disappointed. No, not this week. I had this conversation last weekend, but somebody else reminded me of it when I was talking to them this weekend, and I hadn't really dealt with it. But he said, I'm just real disappointed that you didn't have more to say about the Milwaukee Common Council voting to give themselves a 15% pay raise. And I said, one of the gripes was that we need to make sure that the lay people got taken care of in the city. The city workers who hadn't had raises for years and years got taken care of. And so that, that ends up happening, that, people get their raises. But what the gentleman said, he said, but Michelle, you got people that was getting 2% and 3% raises, maybe 4% raises. They wasn't getting 15% raises. How you justify that? Particularly when you're telling people that the city is still in financial trouble, even with the tax, the sales tax and the shared revenue deal. We still in trouble. 2025, 2026, we still got financial issues. We still got like a $40 million gap in what we have by way to be okay. And then these were already legislators who were some of the highest paid legislators in the state as a body. They make more money than the state senators and the state representatives. They make more money than the Common Council. And I just told him, I said, you know what? I just didn't take that on. There's a lot going on. I just didn't take that on. But people are paying attention, y'all. And people are asking tough questions. You need to be one of those too. The vote is the thing that we have to leverage our power in this community. I gotta take a break. I'll be right back. All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Michelle Bryant, Say Something Real. So I talked about the fact that there is going to be a town hall meeting to discuss the Northridge Mall redevelopment. So for folks that either live in the district where Alderwoman Larissa Taylor is the aldermanic representative or common council representative for that area, you should be aware that tonight over at Vincent High School from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m., there is going to be a town hall meeting. This meeting will feature Mayor Cavalier Johnson, Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, and representatives from the Department of City Development, the Milwaukee Police Department, Milwaukee Fire Department, Department of Neighborhood Services, Lord have mercy, and Northridge demolition contractor, I think it's pronounced Veet and Company. So in looking at the information that was released about tonight's town hall, it says that the event will, quote, inform the community about the current status of the former mall, the demolition timeline, and the upcoming planning process, according to the Department of City Development. And I'm taking this from an article that was in the Journal Sentinel. It will also allow community members to provide input on the plans for the future. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that people know, particularly people that are directly impacted, that live in the area. That is now the area that I have lived in for the past 4 years. But when I first came to Milwaukee, I lived, in the Northridge Lakes area. I actually at one time lived in Northridge Apartments, the very first apartment that we ever had while we were looking for a home. And then ultimately, ended up over off 107th Street in Brown Deer. So just so people know that this is happening. To learn more about the future of the former Northridge Mall, you can either go to visit milwaukee.gov /Granville Station. Ideas about the site's future can be shared at engage.milwaukee.gov /Northridge. If you can't go in person, but you'd like to be able to find out what they're doing or to weigh in and give ideas about what should happen with that site, I'll say it again. You can either visit milwaukee.gov /Granville Station, or you can go to share your ideas at engage.milwaukee.gov /Northridge. The work to make this 100-acre site, and remember, we're talking about Brown Deer Road and 76th Street, available for new development should be completed by fall 2025. The city began tearing, the property down back in March, and the demolition and asbestos cleanup is being financed with a $15 million federal grant provided by the American Plan Rescue Act. The grant was awarded by Governor Evers. Remember the referendum questions, though. Remember the referendum questions that are on the April 13th ballot. Republicans introduced a referendum to be able to say, we don't want the governor to be able to make those kinds of decisions. We want to make them as the legislature. But when decisions have to be made quickly and in real time in relationship to emergencies, in relationship to crises, without a whole bunch of political garbage and nonsense clouding up the room, we wouldn't be able to get that stuff done. That's also why I'm encouraging people to vote no to both questions on the ballot, the referendum. Vote no. Because the governor needs to have a degree. I don't care if it's a Republican governor or a Democratic governor. They need to have a degree of latitude about spending when we're talking about emergencies. The American Rescue Plan Act was dollars that came through. Somebody just said, like in cases of flooding and stuff, you think about New Orleans when Katrina happened, and people got to be able to make split decisions about, how we going to help people, how we going to get businesses back on track, how we're going to make sure that churches can stay open or reopen after this whole thing is done. And the governor was able to do that. Republicans didn't like that the governor had that level of latitude. They didn't even want some of the money to come in. They wanted to turn it away. When there was money created to help people stay in their homes in terms of rent assistance type programs, people were complaining like we need mortgage assistance programs too. But those are the types of things that would be impacted by a yes vote on the referendum. So I'm encouraging people to vote no to both of those two referendums. So just so people understand that, we went through a lot to get Northridge demolished and to get to finally get a redevelopment idea and strategy in place. That property was allowed to just languish for more than 25 years. And it was an eyesore, and it just brought property values down, and it was unsafe, and vandals were, just tearing up the place. So I'm so glad that we finally have movement. I don't agree with everything that's been done to get us to this place. There were other companies that were interested in Northridge Lakes that got rebuffed by the city. You're just trying to figure out like what all these different dynamics were, but it is what it is, and we are where we are. If you are somebody that cares about what's going on over there, I'll remind you one more time. This meeting is happening tonight at Vincent High School from 5:30 to 7:30, and it's being hosted by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor. Mayor Johnson is slated to be there, and a number of folks from the city and from the actual construction company, or what did I say? Construction or development company that is actually going to be helping to handle this project. So just make sure that you are aware of that. All right. So let me turn my attention, if I can, to this upcoming election season. I swear to God, there are days that sometimes all you can do is shake your head to keep from crying. Or you got to find something else to do so you don't just start screaming and becoming that crazy person screaming at your TV. But I have been watching, the coverage of both of the campaigns leading into the November election. You listening with that third ear to the stuff that's being said. You watching with that third eye, the visuals that's happening around you. And some of the things that's happening are just crazy to me and just scary to me. There was a rally in Atlanta for Donald Trump. Okay. Now this is coming off this epic Atlanta rally that Vice President Kamala Harris had with her presidential campaign. And you had Black people that were in attendance at the Donald Trump rally. Okay, cool. But one of the things that some of these Black people did down in Atlanta, they jumped on board with calling Kamala Harris a DEI hire. Now, we say it all the time. We are not a monolith. We don't all think the same way. We don't all, eat the same food. We don't frequent the same businesses. We don't wear the same gear. Although most Black people do tend to have a degree of swag with their clothes. But stereotypes aside. So you are free. And that's what this country is all about. You are free to be affiliated, not affiliated with any political party you want to. You are free to think the things that you want, but freedom to think what you want and understanding what actually is reality and or facts are two different things. And I don't know that people always understand and appreciate that fine line. I can think that this microphone is black. No, I'm sorry. That this microphone, anybody that's watching me on YouTube or Facebook, I got a microphone in front of me and the base of the microphone is black. I can think it's red. I can think it's platinum. I can think it's, covered in gold and rhinestones. I can think that if I want to. But the reality, the facts is that it's a black microphone. It's black. The base of the microphone is black. And no matter what I think, and no matter what conspiracy theories I come up with, and no matter how I'm swayed, it does not negate, it does not change the fact that the base of this microphone is black. So when you hear Black people who in one of the most historic civil rights states in the nation, you got like that core, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, some of the most violent racial episodes in this nation's history take place in these states. You just expect Black people in these states to be a little more aware. I mean, everything you do in Atlanta is historical. The streets that you drive on, the places that you see, the markers that you see, everything speaks to what it took for Black people to achieve a certain level of freedom in this country. The ability to vote, the ability to be treated equally in public accommodations. It's just everywhere you look. Like, you have to work in Milwaukee or in Wisconsin to see that stuff. Even in the city of Milwaukee, there are not a ton of markers that let you understand the plight of Black people in the city of Milwaukee, the state of Wisconsin, and what Black folks had to do to be treated fairly here. It's not a ton. We don't have streets named after a whole bunch of Black people. We got these little honorary signs, but not like real streets really named after them that had to be changed, in the Google Maps. We don't have a lot of that. We'll have a bunch of statues. We'll have a bunch of markers. We just don't. And that's on us because we can advocate for those things. But when you have a woman who stands up, woman by the name of Andrea Smith, Black woman who volunteers for the Trump campaign, and she talks about how Democrats are leaning into identity politics to win the election. But the guy you supporting is telling people that Kamala Harris is not even Black. You got to look at Andrea Smith down in Atlanta and ask her, what the hell is wrong with you? How do you stand up? Because Kamala Harris is Black. It doesn't matter that, she went to Howard or that she's in AKA, because we as Black sororities, while they're predominantly Black leaning sororities, times are changing. We got white members. Delta Sigma Theta got our first white member years and years and years ago. She was one of the people that was involved in the Freedom Rides. So, it's a predominantly leaning Black organization, but there are women of other races in AKA, Delta, Sigma Gamma Rho, Zeta Phi Beta, the Divine Nine period. It's Black alphas. It's white alphas. It's, it's other people. But she Black because her daddy is Black. So there's no question about whether or not Kamala Harris is Black. And she's always leaned into being Black. So how do you as a Black woman get behind this dude who stands up and disparages the sister in this way? And we ain't even got to talk about the long list, the litany of crap that this man has done. I don't know how any woman gets behind Donald Trump, nasty, filthy, over-sexualized, disgusting person. You want to be over a beauty pageant and then give yourself the opportunity to walk into the dressing room while the young girls are getting dressed, and you don't feel like you should excuse yourself. All of these girls in the Teen USA pageants have talked about Donald Trump creeping them out, coming into their dressing room. Callers, I see y'all. I'm coming. And then 19 women accuse you of sexual assault. You get convicted in the E. Jean Carroll case. But you got women for Trump. What are you for? And then this Black woman that he meets from Clark Atlanta University, who talks about how she saw him and had to hug him and give him a kiss because he saved Clark Atlanta University. He saved HBCUs. And what does Donald Trump say? I was about to not go home to my wife looking at you. That's what he said. He said it on the stage. Who says that? You dirty, filthy creep? Who says that? Out loud. And we're not just talking about any wife. We're talking about the first lady of the United States. And you say to this young black college girl, the young sister, I was about to go. And, like my wife was about to have problems because you look so good. What is that? You just got to ask the question, what is wrong with these people? And then you have black people that stand up and actually say, yeah, Kamala Harris probably is where she is because of affirmative action. And people looking at, her skin color rather than her credentials and moving her forward. You have black people say that. When we all know that saying got to work twice as hard to get half as much, got to be twice as smart to get half the consideration. We all, because we know it because it's real. So to have black people willing to act like they don't understand the challenges that black people have faced in this country, and you want to sit here and spout out phrases and ideology of people that have been privileged at every opportunity. When UWM can put out a study that says a white boy with a criminal record got a better shot of getting a job in Wisconsin than a black man that is degreed and no criminal record, what do you say to that? That's recent day research. And you got a black woman that would lean into people questioning how Kamala Harris has risen through the ranks. Self-hate is an awful thing. Self-hate. And when I'm talking about self-hate, I'm talking about hating being black. Hating having to embrace all that means, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I literally had tears in my eyes as I watched these Negroes stand up here with these white folks. You don't look like nobody in their cabinet. You don't look like nobody in the inner circle. You don't look like nobody really working in their offices. And these people are espousing policies that are harmful and detrimental to this community. And you look at these black people and you just say, what in the world am I missing? Because clearly you think you got it all figured out. But you got people that don't want folks to have health coverage. That's us. You got people that want to defund public education. That's us. You got people that stole money from the damn HBCUs before they gave them money. That's us. You got people who cheated the black president out of an appointment to the Supreme Court. That is us. What's wrong? What am I missing? Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, caller. Bryant, I love you, but speak on the fact that that black township in Atlanta, they buried up under the lake. They put a lake over it. In the other black township, they didn't want no black people in. Speak on that.
I definitely know what you're talking about, and I will.
Yes, ma'am. Love you, mama.
All right. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Let me go to the next caller. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello? Caller?
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Dr. Ward, how you doing this morning?
Not bad at all. I first need to give my title so it'll be known who is saying this.
Okay.
This is
okay.
the Reverend Dr. Andrew Ward. I want to add a little clarity to your sermon this morning, maybe testimony you call it. This thing about being black or whatever, all you have to do is carry your ass down to Mississippi in the bowels of Alabama and Georgia, and they'll tell you what your race is. So we don't have to worry about even people who don't want to be black can carry their ass to the wrong place and they'll just find out who they are, what color they are. And black and white came up because so the stupidest, ignorant mofo could know how to discriminate. Case in point, this is something I just learned yesterday. These races are against Jews, but Jews all have to change their name and hide their religion, and they're white. I just learned yesterday that Howard Cosell is Jewish. His name is Cohen. He changed it to Cosell to handle that race problem. And I guess that's about all I'm gonna say. Well, all these black people, these people who are black people who are licking Trump's behind are getting paid. That's the answer to that.
All right. Thank you. So let me just say this. Let me give y'all some comments that were made by people of color, black people and brown people of color at this Trump rally in Atlanta. One person said, for John Williams, a 46-year-old DJ from Lithonia, Georgia, it was Trump's ability to make business deals with foreign countries that attracted him to the former president. As a black man, he said he didn't believe Harris, as a black woman, would be able to handle the same type of international dealings. You idiot. You idiot. First of all, a man who cannot borrow money in this country because your credit is so bad. That's why he does business with Deutsche Bank and banks outside the U.S. because his credit is so bad with his 5 to 7 bankruptcies, he cannot borrow money in this country. This your businessman. Like this the stuff that I swear to God, my head is going to bust off my body. You're a DJ, dog. Not saying that DJs can't be bright because Mr. Martin is a DJ and a teacher. But you literally are talking about business dealings. I bet you if the president of China stood in front of you right now, you wouldn't even know who he was. Let's go on to another person. Before I say that, this is what else the DJ from Lithonia said. Unfortunately, we do live in a world with race. The United States is not racist like that. But if you want to talk about other countries, you don't see our black people buying land in places like Russia or China. You don't see them buying land in Milwaukee either. We losing houses. The 2008 bubble, what did Teague just sit here last week and say? Black folks have not recovered. White people lost their houses at a rate of 2%. They've not only recovered, they've gone on to exceed and do well. Black people have not recovered. Idiot. And I shouldn't call names because I know it's people that are like, Michelle, no, you can't be aggressive. You can't, you got to coddle people. You got to bring them into the fold. You got to do it lovingly and nurturingly. I ain't got time for that right now. I don't have no patience for it right now. I'm getting old and I could tell because, when people start getting old, they just start, straight no chaser. I'm getting old. I ain't got many days left. I ain't got time to bring you along. I need you to get out the way. Let me say this real quick, because this was one of my favorites. Others believe that the Democratic Party were focusing on Harris's race because she didn't have the qualifications to stand on her own. Now, this woman was a prosecutor. She was the attorney general for her state. She was a U.S. senator, only the second black woman in the history of this country to be a U.S. senator. She is the vice president of the United States, but she ain't got no qualifications. Donald Trump, who ain't never damn been a school bus driver. Donald Trump, who's never been on the Common Council, never served in any legislative role ever in his life, and has run his businesses so badly that you can't borrow money in the United States of America. But this dude got more qualifications than Kamala Harris. And it's a black man saying this. But here was the piece de resistance. Floyd Narcisco, a 72-year-old man from Nicaragua. He said, quote, liberals were using color to represent them and avoiding the character of Harris. We're going to put up Kamala's character against Donald Trump's character. Narcisco claimed that Harris didn't have, quote, the intellectual preparation to run the country. And this man went on to say, I have a 3rd grade education, but I can see when someone is dumb. If I ain't never needed Jesus before, I need him right now. Or as Keith would say, her. If I have never needed faith before, I need it right now. Some individual with a 3rd grade education from Nicaragua who was at the Trump rally said that he was able to tell that Kamala Harris was dumb, that she didn't have intellectual preparation. This woman has the highest level of education you can attain in the legal field. She has a doctorate. She has a JD. And somebody with a 3rd grade education at a Trump rally said that Kamala Harris is dumb. But this white man who can't figure out how to keep his businesses from going bankrupt is smart. This white man who on the TV show The Apprentice, all that was made up. Trump was on the verge of bankruptcy when The Apprentice started. Businesses were fledgling. This man basically built up this persona of this big time, big baller shot caller, but he really was none of those things. What's wrong with people? Because the microphone base is black. It's not red. It's not platinum. It's not green. It's black. You can say all of this idiotic nonsense that you want, but it don't change the fact that there is proof of Kamala Harris's intellectual capability because she passes one of the hardest bar exams in the nation. There's proof of accomplishments. But just to know is like you can be for Donald Trump and not tear down the character and the work of this black woman. You can support this man. But you let these white folks sucker you into saying that the only way she got where she got was because of diversity, equity, and inclusion, when you don't understand that the majority of black people that's in the middle class now and upper middle class and doing well, somebody had to force these white folks to hire them people because they wasn't hiring them. And the practice would have kept up if nobody had intervened. I got to take a break. Callers, I see y'all. Y'all be first up when I come back. got a caller that held through the break. Let me keep my word and go straight to them. Hang on one second. Alderwoman Taylor, I have definitely been making the announcement about the town hall meeting. I'll make sure that I mention it again. But yeah, we actually talked about it quite a bit during the first segment, and I'll mention it before I get off the show. All right, let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Yes. Good morning, Miss Michelle Bryant.
Good
How
morning.
are you doing, dear?
Hey, bro, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing quite well, and thank you for asking. And good morning to Mr. Debo and Carby.
Right. I'm Harvey now.
All right, Mr. Debo, I hear you back there. Michelle, you know what you're saying about the senior citizens just don't be playing around like that.
Yes.
It goes directly to the jugular vein. You reminded me of my grandmother, because the people, black folks that align themselves with what she called the Ku Klux Klan, or whatever the case may be. Like back in the 50s, we used to talk like that, right?
Right.
And she'd say, they're just sick in the head. Something happened to them. The mama used to probably drop them too many times when he was a baby. But anyway, yeah, she just called them sick in the head. Because the Negroes I know, I'm not throwing this at you, Michelle, I'm just saying, call them Negroes is give them too much of a credit, okay? Too much of respect, and too much of, being polite. Because the Negroes I know, from Harriet Tubman through Martin Luther King Jr., those Negroes, they died fighting against demons like Donald Trump. So yeah, I would just call them sick in the head black people, because call them Negroes, give them way too much credit, my personal opinion. But everybody has to call them what you want. But I still say call them Negroes, give them way too much credit. Anyway, yep, Grandmama said those people are sick in the head.
All right.
And in closing, Michelle, I was thinking, when we were talking about black people being monolithic, there was a time when we were more monolithic, and we did better because we stuck together more and fought against people like Donald Trump more. Now in 2024, I hear people saying, well, we monolithic and stuff like that. Well, sure we are. We all different in some kind of way, but there was a time when we did stick together. If you want to call that monolithic, then I said we was more monolithic then than we are now. But yeah, sometimes I miss the good old days where we stuck together and fought against these type of regimes.
All right.
I like to thank you, Michelle.
All right, thank you, JT. I appreciate it. Nope, I appreciate it. And I'll just say this: there are many issues that black people will come to the table on. I don't like I never like the impression that we're not working towards some common goals, because there are some things I think that as a collective, the majority of us are focused on. Now, how we show up is different. You may not see the large numbers. It may be people working in silos. Lena used to talk about that all the time, that you did have people doing work, but they was working in silos. So this group, they doing their thing, this group doing their thing, this thing. And as a collective, you never saw the energy of the whole community working on an issue. And that even defining what those issues are. What is it that we want to see? Do we want to see Black home ownership increase in this city? And then how do we tackle making that happen? Do we want to see more Blacks, represented in the legislature? What is it that we want? That was one of the things I stayed on, I harped on when Barack Obama came in. People said, he didn't do this. What did you ask him to do? What did you want him to do? What did you tell him to do? Because other groups said, I want marriage equality. I want ... What did you say to him as a collective that you wanted? And then everybody want to get mad. I can't. Give me something to work with, is what I always say. But I just don't know. I think about that even during Emmett Till's death, we now know that there was a Black man present. And we don't know, some of us were like, well, did he go and help beat Emmett Till because he was forced to? They told him he, like in Mamie Till's, not Mamie Till, was it Fannie Lou Hamer who got beat in prison by two black men that were incarcerated because the guards came and got these two black men out of their cells when they brought in, I think it was Fannie Lou Hamer, and they made those guards beat Fannie Lou Hamer. They made those black men beat Fannie Lou Hamer. Basically, these brothers knew, like, I'm going to die or get beaten if I don't beat her. And self-preservation, people beat her. You know, I would like to think that I would have had the strength not to do that. But people were so evil in the way that they would abuse people, slow torture, that I'm not going to try to judge how you go through with that. I'm not going to try to judge it. But it's painful to know that people, and I've always thought about the brothers who was forced to do it and how you live with that. So I don't know what it is about Black people that will stand up next to these folks who have no track record of doing anything for you. None whatsoever. I don't know for the young sister at Clark Atlanta University who, hugging Donald Trump to my you saved HBCUs. Young sister, like, this is as simple as research, similar to what you would do to write a paper. It's not hard to find out who Donald Trump is and his previous stance on race, but I don't have to go back that far. I can just look at 4 years when he called African countries S-hole countries. The disdain that has been shown to Black people. All these Black men running around, Trump ain't hiring y'all. Call David Clark. Call him. Homeland Security, call David Clark. Where he at? With his cowboy hat on. Call him. You still running up under these white folks who didn't, in no way was never. Donald Trump made it clear. No, you ain't coming. What was Donald Trump's boy's name? Who was the chief of staff at the time? It wasn't Kelly. What was his name? Ain't nobody hiring David Clark. You can marry all the white women you want to. You not coming up in here. You not in the inner circle. We're going to use you for the minstrel show that you are, just like Diamonds and Pearls or Diamonds and Lace, whatever them sisters' names is. One of them died, so let me be respectful. But we're going to use y'all. Just like we parade around some ones here in Milwaukee, we're going to use y'all. But the agenda does not include y'all. Y'all not the real beneficiaries of the programs and the policies. And as a woman, you okay with hugging the man who wants to take away your ability to even get birth control pills? To have decisions about your own reproductive health? That's who you riding with. The dude who does not believe that you should be able to make decisions about your own body. And you go to somebody's college. A man with a 3rd grade education had the audacity to call this Black woman dumb. Like, it's that level of ignorance that I just have so much trouble with. Yeah. Well, evidently you don't. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, that's me.
Yes.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm all right. How you doing this morning?
Pretty good. I was going to call you anyways, but this is good. I agree with you about the body, the female body, and it's your body. And nobody should harass you about what you do. I don't want to see missionaries to the preborn controlling strapping women to a bed. I mean, I try to imagine what it'll be, where you can put them under, like you're putting them to sleep in prison, and so that they can spread their legs. It's really grotesque. On the other hand, that was my good faith opening. On the other hand, no, Donald Trump did not say that African countries are crap. He said the politicians are. Anybody would know that. Those countries that are scaring people away, the Latin American countries, those people are leaving those countries because
wait. Go back.
The politicians.
Go back.
Go
back. You said Donald Trump didn't say what?
He did not say the people are crap hole because they're black or brown. He said the countries, not talking about the people. He's talking about the politicians. That's why the people are leaving those countries and coming to the global north, is to get away from those. Like years ago, you and I chat, and you're talking about how some of the brown people, black people are mistreated when they go to Israel. And I said, well, where are they coming from? And you just kind of quietly said, yeah, you got a good point. So
listen. Let me stop you for a second. When Donald Trump was talking, he was specifically talking about Haiti and one other country. One of the things that Trump went on to say is, why do we need more Haitians? Take them out. Because if you do, it will be obvious why. Like, he specifically said the Haitian people. He didn't say the Haitian government. He said, why do we need more Haitians? So this was not about just looking at the management of or mismanagement of a country and saying, the country is awfully run. That's why their people come here. He specifically said, why do we need more Haitians? So I got to push back on what you're saying.
Right about that. I don't want to argue, because you might be right about that.
I am right.
Thing. Pardon me?
I am right about it.
I'll have to look at it. And I believe it's possible, because he doesn't speak very well. I would never defend the way he talks. I think he sticks his foot in his mouth a whole lot. And there's supposed to be a question. I'm for laissez-faire. I say the border should be open.
And wait. And just one other thing.
So go ahead.
Because I had to go pull some of this up. Trump questions why the United States would want people from nations such as Haiti, from nations such as Haiti, while we're being, when he talked about, he said we could have more people coming from places like Norway.
Yeah, they said that. They were saying that because the people coming from those places have education. I understand what you're saying. It sounds pretty dumpy.
No, the majority of people coming from Norway, it wasn't about education. It was about their skin color. It was not about it wasn't about education.
Obviously, that's where.
We got to be willing.
Even
though we have our own political agendas, we still got to be able and willing to acknowledge and tell the truth about some of this stuff. And the reality was, even though I know and I understand where you're going and the larger point you're trying to get to, but we cannot diminish what has been said and rephrase it and repaint it in a way that covers up the vileness of it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Look, that's all I'm saying. We can have, because I know the caller and I understand what his larger concerns are. But it's just like I said, the mic is still black. The mic is still black. We are at a moment in which Black people are under fire. You rise to the level that Kamala Harris has risen to, only to have people tell you that you did sexual favors to get to the top, that you don't have the intellectual capacity to be in the room, that the only reason somebody hired you is because they had a quota to fill to say we have no Black people, so let's. And then just think about, after her job stint as a prosecutor, everything else was an election, which meant that people chose her. So you can't oral sex your way into the vice presidency. You can't sleep your way into being a state attorney general. You can't cozy up to a man your way into being a U.S. senator, which is what Donald Trump has tried to say and his supporters. People elected her. They went to the polls. They put the little scratch the oval in. They elected her. Nobody hired her in the sense of an actual interview process and, one or two people making a decision. Millions of people made the decision to get to give their support to this woman as she ran for office. So when you have Black people that's willing to co-sign and say, yes, she's only in this role because of a diversity hire. Biden, told Clyburn them that they would go after getting a black Supreme Court justice, and they would go after getting a black person possibly to be vice presidential pick. But y'all, nobody got nothing to say when, for the history of this country, the presidents had all been white up until Barack Obama. Ain't nobody care about no diversity. I mean, no fairness. White boys was fine as long as it was always white men being presidents. And I'm not talking about all white men. Y'all already know that. But the ones who make race an issue. You don't see nothing wrong with the fact that the leadership of this country is not representative of who lives here. You see nothing wrong with that. And one Black person get a job, and now the whole world falling apart. Because so much of this is in response to Barack Obama having been elected president. This is the backlash and the fallout on some level from that. But when you have Black people willing to be complicit, and again, to my Black Republican colleagues who never can open their mouth to criticize their party, to say when something is wrong, particularly when it's aimed at the Black community, to say that the party is out of order. Because see, I get people say, you don't air your dirty laundry in the public. You do if you want the public to trust what you're saying. You do when your party ain't listening in the closed room, behind closed doors. You do sometimes have to call people out publicly on their BS. So like literally, these people make me physically sick because it just speaks to self-hatred. I don't care how you phrase it. I don't care how enlightened you think you are. You smarter than the average bear. People of a certain age, you're going to know what I'm referencing. I don't care. There's no way you look at the Republican Party as it exists today and believe that they are anything but a problem for Black folks as a collective. I'm not talking about your tax policies that help your little Black business. I'm not talking about the Black millionaires who like, oh yeah, we do well with the stock market with Donald Trump. I'm talking about as the collective. How can you be riding with a party that don't want to get nobody health insurance? How do you do that? How do you think it's okay to ride with a party that does not want to pay people fair wages? Who in the hell can live off $7.25 an hour in this country? We have not raised the minimum wage in how many decades? Not years, decades. Decades. So you got rich people getting richer and everyday working people still busting their behind and getting evicted because you can't pay your rent. That's a party that pushes that ideology. When Donald Trump was president, he put the man who was the president, we got him in with the one or two we got left in Wisconsin, Hardee's, and I forgot what the name of it, of his Carl's in other cities, in southern states is Carl's. But the man who owned the Hardee's Carl's franchise, Donald Trump puts him in a position in his administration when this man believed that there should not be an increase in the minimum wage. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? But this who y'all riding with. I do not, I don't understand. I don't understand. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello?
Yeah, this is Kathy calling in.
Hey, Kathy.
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Kathy.
Yes, hi. You know, I'm just calling that everybody's talking about Kamala. They can't find nothing bad on her, so they're going to talk about somebody being a whore. Well, white women been whores for years and Girl Friday, okay? Trump vocabulary doesn't go past anybody, okay? And this guy talking about they wanted more people. Trump was talking about more white people from Iceland and Finland. I remember when he said that, where's all the white people at? So we know what Trump is talking about, okay? No one's focused on Social Security. No one, if it's solvent or not, no one's focused on Medicare. When you retire, you have to pay $160 out of your pocket for your insurance, okay? Some people don't even get a pension, and based on what kind of work they did at minimum wage or a little higher, they're not going to be able to survive. They're going to have to go on government benefits and low-income housing and heating benefits. That's what we need to be talking about. How are we going to take care of Social Security? How are we going to do minimum wage? Minimum wage should have been up, okay? That's some of the things we should be asking people about, not trying to go by, well, what job somebody did. I didn't like this. She was in San Francisco, and they got felons for weed. Well, that was the law back then. If you don't like the law, don't go there. No one asks you to go to jail and break the law. I talk to people. I talk to black and white, especially the men. They're all saying the same thing. Well, she did this for weed. I said it was the law back then. Drugs wasn't against law, and it still is against the law. Okay, but that's what they want to push. They don't talk about any kind of Social Security. They don't talk about minimum wage or benefits or anything. That's what I'm concerned about. And then the border. Do you have to go to the border? You can do a lot of stuff without going to the border. And the border problem was way before Kamala Harris and Obama got in office. They've been having problems with border control, okay? What about the national security? You know, they don't know anything about security in this country. I'm going to tell you what I'm concerned about. And no one ever thought of this. Anytime you go to the store and buy anything, you shouldn't have to take your credit card or debit card and just tap it. Because when somebody rob you or steal from you, they get your credit card. It should always be a PIN number. Always be a PIN number. If somebody got your PIN number because you gave it to them, you gave it to your kids, your family, you should always use a PIN number when shopping. That's security. And credit fraud is too easy for people. We need to talk about things that are really going to impact us, not about, oh, she did this, she didn't go to the right school, she wasn't the right color. Donald Trump is never going to be the right color, the right person. His personality sucks. We know he's crazy. He don't lie. There's something wrong with him. Why would we comment about him? Let's focus on minimum wage. Call your Congress people and tell them, or email them. Call your senators. We need minimum wage stuff for people. Because at the end of the day, if you ain't got no pension or nothing coming out of no pension from your job, you're just a worker, you're going to be suffering. Some people only get $1,000 a month for Social Security, maybe $1,300, $1,400. You cannot pay rent and mortgage with that kind of money. You're not going to be able to make it. And then they take $160 out of your check when you retire for insurance. And guess what? With Social Security, they're going to cover 80%. The other 20% you're paying out of your pocket on $1,000, maybe $1,300 benefits, okay, that you get from your Social Security. We're going to be putting people in low-income housing, energy assistance programs, and they're going to have more food pantries open because a lot of people need to have their wages raised up. And on top of that, we all got to pull ourselves up, especially for the younger, and try to go back to school, get a trade, or try to work yourself up to something else. Because the world is not just working just for low-income people. It's working for everybody. And they always talk about what? Middle-income people. We're going to take care of the middle-income people. They never said we're going to take care of the poor. There's programs for the poor, especially if we live in Wisconsin. But all I'm saying is that we have to do better than this. Fight about minimum wage. Raise that up.
All right. Thank you so much. Excellent points. All right, family, let me take a quick break. I'll be right back. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM.
Tickets are on sale now for the 5th annual Fresh Coast Jazz
Can't stand. Cannot stand you. My policy. All right, family. Welcome back to the last couple of seconds. I got seconds now of the show. Let me make sure again. I mentioned I did it at the top of the show that there is a town hall meeting happening tonight from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. over at Vincent High School, 7501 North Granville Road, discussing the future of Northridge Mall, the development over there, redevelopment that's going on. Mayor Cavalier Johnson is expected to speak. This is being hosted by Alderwoman Larissa Taylor, but you have folks from the city, police and fire, a representative from the demolition contractor, and Lafayette Crump, one of the commissioners, who will also be there to talk about the timeline, demolition, how the public can weigh in on what they want to see for this particular redevelopment. And this is the time to get in. You can't wait till after it's built and then everybody want to complain. They should have put a skating rink over there. They need something for the kids to do. You need to get in on the floor now. So if you got time.
When? Now.
I was just saying, if you got time, roll through. And let me say this real quick too, because somebody sent me a text message about where is it? Stop acting like it says Kamala sent the Haitians back. Kamala did that. Kamala did that by herself. Kamala sent the Haitians back, but have allowed all other immigrants to come over here. Yep, ain't nobody else been deported, ain't nobody else been returned. And Kamala did this by herself. That was her decision. And she went down there and said, send the Haitians back. And, the person goes on to say, stop acting like this is one-sided. I don't have a political party. This is the reason I can call balls and strikes. If you're going to call them fairly, ref. If you're going to call them, don't say Kamala Harris sent back the Haitians, because now you playing with words and semantics. Kamala Harris is not the entire administration. Kamala Harris on her own doesn't have the power to send me to Walmart. What is you talking about? Kamala Harris sent the Haitians back. It happened under this administration. I don't agree. I talked about people like a dog for it happening, but if you gonna tell it all. If you're going to say it correctly. Kamala Harris did not send Haitians back to Haiti.
Who sent them back?
You know what?
Somebody sent them back because they went back. Somebody had to send them back.
I said it happened under this administration.
No, it happened. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Just come on. And I didn't like it. And I was very vocal about it, but that's the difference between me and a lot of people that's connected to parties. I have no problem saying publicly when I disagree and when we out of order and when we wrong. If more people were willing to do that, we wouldn't have all this angst. I wouldn't lose my mind. My hair would grow. It would be so amazing.
Your hair would grow.
Yes. Yes.
It's stopping your hair from growing?
It's stopping my hair from growing.
That's some serious stuff.
Yeah. It's stopping my hair from growing.
I didn't know it was that serious.
It's deep.
It's deep. Hair stop growing.
Stay in these people. It don't affect you.
I ain't got no hair, so it must have.
Long time ago. You got broke off. All right, family. That's my show today. I don't have no clever way to go. I don't have no great little sign off. Go from this place in peace. I don't have none of that.
I'm gonna comment on that.
WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee. The views and opinions expressed on this show do not reflect that of the staff and management of WNOV and W293CX 106.5 FM. Courier Communications, Milwaukee.